Welcome to Papa's Workshop. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But today is a sad day. I have to tell you, my assistant of the last 13 and a half years has passed away. Molly, the English lab, it's been a few days, but it's not easy still. She was a great dog. A great assistant, kept me honest down here, told me when it was time to take a break, helped bring the groceries in, helped right here around the shop picking stuff up. Sometimes not stuff I wanted her to, but she was always there. The good news is that this did not happen the week my grandson was here. We had a good week, and he spent a lot of time with Molly, so that was good. We were working here in the workshop. He wanted to build a new bed. So here's a picture of the headboard. This is out of red oak, and this is modeled after something he found on the internet. And it even has a couple secret compartments. Here's the footboard. Actually, there's a secret compartment in the headboard and one in the footboard. So it was a good week, and like I said, I'm thankful that Molly passed after he had left. He's 15, so I mean he could handle it, but still, it's not a pleasant thing to have. I'll have some pictures of Molly at the end of this. You can skip over if you don't wish to watch it, but sort of a tribute to her. The video that follows was a video that I had filmed before my grandson got here that just didn't make, it would have made the video too long last time. So if Molly's in the background, that's the deal. I don't think she is. But without further ado, here's some more of the table and then Molly to follow. All right, we've got the legs roughed out. So now I was going to cut this part here. If you could see it, it's got to go right in there. And we got some, this ends up being harder to make than what I first anticipated, but that's what I do the plans for the way I'd like to see it, and then I have to figure out how to make it, just like doing a reproduction. We can't just make a 45 piece because these lines here represent the molding down here. Let's see if I can get this. So we've got, sorry for that, I'll cut that out. So we've got this profile here. So there's two steps. There's the quarter here and a quarter there. So that's what's in this. That's what's being represented here. So if we made a 45, just glued it right to this line, and then did the profile, we would have end grain showing here from this board. So it would be a different color. So it would stand out that it wasn't done right. So we need to do this profile all the way up to about here. And then this needs to be, this piece, number 4, has to be coped. So it has to have coped, means it's the opposite of the profile so that the two fit together. At least fit together right at this edge. So that makes making this piece a bit of a problem. If we make this curve, if we cut that curve first, and then where it ends up being, you know, when you make this coped, it may move in farther, or it may not be in far enough. So this, and to get all 4 of them consistent, that's going to be pretty tough. So what I think I'm going to do is try to just get a a 45 that's out to this line, right? And then cope these two 45 cuts, and then do the profile on the legs, get it all fit, and then we'll do the profile on this outside, so that we can make them all the same. We can mark it, and I don't know, maybe we'll make a jig on the router, handheld router, to make the curves without making any sort of template. We'll see. But I think the first thing is we got to cut the blanks big enough to do clear out to here. And I want to give myself extra room, so there's plenty if I've got to redo a coping. I'm going to try to do this all on the router table, the profile and the cope. We can use the same 3 bits. I'm going to use 3 bits to make that profile, a rabbet bit to make the steps, and then a cove bit and a roundover bit, 1/4 inch, both of them. So we can do the same thing on the cope, use the same bits, just kind of in a different location. So the first thing is we got to cut that out of there, and then try to do the coping. Going to cope with the coping. All right, so here are the 2 blanks I've got. So they're already milled to the same thickness as the legs, and I made a little cardboard template of what the end result needs to be, and you can see my lines where I'm going to cut that in half, where my miter cuts are going to be, and I've given myself that much extra. So we're going to cut these up and make sure that they fit just as they are, that the miters are square with the leg. I'll put the 2 legs together, and we'll mark each one, make sure they fit in there square. Then we'll do the coping. All right, here they are, all are cut. I've fine-tuned these 2 with my on my shooting board with the plane, and you can see, it's kind of hard to see on the film, on the video, but it's just a little bit off. Something wasn't quite square, so I just touched these other 2 up with the shooting board. All right, I got the profile, the coped profile done. You can see, so that fits in there, and so I'll be able to, once we get this shaped, it should fit in there if I can get them matched. So that's the way they're going to look. I'll film doing the pattern on this, and you can see the steps and doing it. I didn't record that, doing these little pieces. It'd be easier on the long ones. So, all right. So before we do the profile on the legs, we need to mark where the ends are. So we're going to take this, put this in there, line this up, and we'll just cut the excess off on the bandsaw, and then we'll go to the router table. And let's see, we can pretty much, the rest of this we can wait on. Well, we do need to stop the router bit somewhere in this area, right here. All right, here's what we're going to do. So with the top down on the router table, we're going to do a rabbet there, a little rabbet there, then the cove bit, round that out, and then the roundover bit and round that out. And probably the rabbet I'll do in stages. I don't like taking a whole chunk off We don't want anything to be splitting out of there. So, but that's it. There, I made the first couple passes, but I wanted to point out that I took the marking gauge and scribed a line at the final depth. And that's where the grain kind of goes like this, and the cherry, we don't want it to pull out a chunk in there, so that'll help kind of guide it if it's going to chip out. All right, we got the 2 rabbit cuts done here and there, which upside down would be these 2. So now we're going to run this cove bit down here to this bottom. And so what I've done, I thought I had a problem, is the nut on the router is bigger than the diameter is bigger than this, so I couldn't go all the way up. But luckily, I was able to move the bit up a little bit, and I've got this second ledge right here. The nut can, so I can raise the nut up to this level, and then set this. And this is the little corner pieces. So I matched this height right here to the top of the router bit. So hopefully that will match, match our profile. This is the coped side. So hopefully that all works. All right, we got the profile done. It fits pretty well. It doesn't go all the way back because I've got to, these areas here aren't, I got to handwork that and get those all the way down so it'll go all the way. But it looks like it fits pretty tight. There's the end. So I got a lot of cleanup work to do on that. And I had another one blow out on me, and I didn't even know it till I got to the end, like that. I didn't even see it happen. So I don't know what, the bit wasn't sharp enough or what, but it's going to be hard to fix that. So we'll probably just have to fill it with something. That is what it is. Well, we got it all together. I got these at the bottom, and it's kind of making these ride up. They actually fit better than it looks, but this just wants to ride up. Anyway, I had to clamp it so I could make the circles. This is the 10-inch where the base, the pedestal should go, and this line is where I had on my drawing at 6 1/4 inch radius. That's 6 1/2 I could do max. So now I'm at a quandary here. Because of this profile, it can go up. I'm thinking I need to put some sort of a sliding tendon in there, a floating tendon, to keep that from riding up. And if the glue should fail, So what we'd have to do is either a little like that, little floating tendon like that, or I could do one that's in here and then trim it to be or vice versa. So I have to think about that, but I should probably do that. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it while this edge is straight. So I got something to align it by. And then I have to figure out how I'm going to cut this curve accurately, because it has to be parallel to the pedestal, right? This needs to be parallel. If I got that arc a little off, it's going to be noticeable. And of course, it needs to look like it flows all the way around. So I think I almost need to do this with a router, pivot on with a router like that. So I have to make some sort of a temporary mechanism to hold the pieces while I cut this outside. Actually, I could probably put 2 screws in the backs and screw them to a board with some sort of a lift up on that side. That probably would work. Anyway, I'll have to think about it for a little bit. And we have to put this same profile here onto this. But we're getting there. All right, I went ahead and made some tenons. I used the pan router. I know not everybody has one of those, but you could do this with a router or by hand or a mortiser. And I just made a straight mortise in each one. It's a little tight. So, but in order to push this in, we've got to miter the side. So now this will just slide right in there. And get it nice and tight. So now we got to put our molding on the outside. And I think what I'll do is make a jig that's less than this, 3/4 inch, and make it an X like that, so I can push this up against it, and then put a screw or something to hold it down, and then we'll have to have a pivot point up here for the router and the handheld router with a circle template, and we'll cut that molding. So I've got to make a jig. All right, here's my little jig for just threw something together here. So this is the piece that we need to cut this arc, and I've got the screw coming in from this side that's pulling it into this, and seeing it sort of follows the profile just on the flat spots. It's not really going to help me with any sort of tear out, but it gives it support. And that's one thing I have to worry about, is when this is coming around this way, it's going to want to pull chunks out, so we'll have to be careful. So now I need to drill a hole to pivot. Now I'll put my handheld router in a circle template or in a circle guide, and then we'll just go around. But we need this pivot point to be exactly where this curve is. So to do that, I've got the compass still set at this outer circle, and I'm just gonna pivot right there, make a mark, pivot right there, and make a mark. So that's X marks the spot right there. You can see that. So I'll just drill a hole for my router guide, and then we'll be able to start to, well, we'll cut this out on the bandsaw first, get close, and then we'll start working on the router bits. Okay, that's it for the table video. What follows is Molly. I've got probably another 4 days, 3-4 days to finish this bed and get it out of my workshop so that I can have room to work on the table again. So it may be 10 days, 2 weeks before the next video, but I'm working on it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Well, here's Molly as a puppy, 2 months old or 8 weeks. I think this was the first day we got her. She's a good looking little pup, huh? Here she is now, one of her helping modes. She's helping water the lawn. Of course, she enjoys the water, so it was sort of a twofer. But that's a great way to wear her out when she was a pup. She's about a year old in this picture. Here she is, First time under the bench, so I knew I had to get a bed for her under there. She really enjoyed being in the workshop. Here she is after one of her surgeries on her leg, and that's her angry bird. She loved that, and it still is in one piece today, but she carries that around all over. Labs instinctively like to carry things. And here she is helping in the workshop again, opening a box, whatever she could do to help. She was there. I'm not sure why this was happening, but there it is. See, there's another shot of her under the bench. That was her favorite spot downstairs. She got block in her mouth. She loved to carry things. On her walks, she would pick up empty water bottles. Was her thing. She would collect them. There she is resting. So she'll be missed.